Cocoa Trail is getting ready to bring out seasonal favorites like pumpkin-flavored truffles, apple pie fudge, and peach cobbler fudge. Learn more about this Henry County spot right now on WSLS.com. So many of us go through life-altering events, and the ones that hurt the most are the ones you don't see coming. Here to help us through triggers and losses are April White, that's her right there, and Marilyn Nutter. There she is. Okay, so you guys are authors of Destination Hope, a travel companion when life falls apart. Thanks for being here. And why did you both get together to write a book about grieving?
Well, I was editing a very small compilation of devotions, and April submitted them to me. And later on, I wrote an article that she responded to about grief because my husband had suddenly passed away 2 days before Christmas, and we were 2,000 miles from home. So it was a very significant time in my life. And she responded saying, so many of the things that you talk about losing your husband are similar to losing my career due to my chronic illness. So we started a correspondence. We eventually met at a writers' conference and thought we might collaborate on a lot of similarities because though they are very different, there are things that are very similar about grieving, whether it's a job or health or a loved one.
Yeah, so I can imagine just working together has helped both of you guys understand your own triggers and losses. Can you go over what a primary and secondary loss is? Maybe April, can you chime in on that one?
Sure. So a primary loss is the initial loss. In my case, my primary loss was the loss of my health when I was diagnosed with a rare chronic illness. And so that is a primary loss. For Marilyn, her primary loss was the loss of her spouse, her beloved, for over 40 years. And so primary loss is the initial loss. But then there are other losses that branch out. That's almost like peeling back the layers of an onion. You know, it wasn't just about my illness and that sort of hijacked my life. Well, now I'm no longer able to work as the community pharmacist in the area in which I loved. And because of that, I was no longer bringing home an income. And because of that, we ended up having to sell our home that we loved from Smith Mountain Lake. And because of that, we had to pull our kids out of the school, and just there was like this snowball effect of loss. And that's where Marilyn and I, we collided. Like our lives were different but parallel. And she was experiencing the loss of her husband, but then also the secondary loss of she too had to move, and she too was struggling with identity. Marilyn and I discussed about how she had to take off her wedding band, and I had to retire my pharmacist lab coat.
Huge changes there. So I would assume then, who would you recommend to read this book? People that have been going through situations as you've been describing?
Well, we actually cover in the book not only our losses, but we have profiles of other women. We have the profile of a woman whose daughter was murdered, another whose child has Down syndrome, another with financial reversals in life, a woman who experienced infidelity. And every single one of those was a primary loss of a dream, a goal, a lifestyle, whatever it was in their life, but yet they too had secondary losses. And so grief is not one size fits all. And often so many things are hidden. But I think as women read our book, they will find certain elements. As April said, we were very different in our losses. We're different in our ages. We're a generation apart. And yet there were so many similarities and so many parallel paths that we walked.
Yes.
So I think any primary loss might find this valuable.
Okay, well, thank you both for being on with me today. And your book, Destination Hope, A Travel Companion When Life Falls Apart, will be released September 28th. So this can be pre-ordered through Amazon. And for more information on this book, you can head on over to aprildawnwhite.com.